Hey gang, I'm just jumping on here. It's it's come to my attention. Well, it's been in my attention. I just try to ignore it, but I've been hearing a lot of negative stuff. And most of this negative stuff has nothing to do with me in general. It has to do with where the world is in general. And I know because of this pandemic and a lot of things that have been happening this year, let's just put it this way. A lot of the people I know are done with 2020. We're tired of 2020. We're tired of the negativity. We're tired of the coronavirus. We're tired of just all the stuff that's basically happened this year alone. This year has been a rough year for a lot of people, including myself and my wife. And I started to dig into some of my old notes, which they're kind of like let's just put it this way. Some of my old notes are disheveled, and I would compare some of my old notes to, if you've ever looked at Nostradamus's quatrains, they're kind of like hard to decipher and hard to understand because they're just seem like gibberish. Well, that's how some of my old notes were. And I didn't throw them away or anything like that because, well, I throw away old notes. Just the fact that the notebook it was in kind of fell apart. They're kind of 15 years old. And I was looking at them and going, should I do a new study on Revelations? Because that's what those notes were on, was Revelations. And anybody who's ever read Revelations kind of goes, I don't understand. Because some of the wording for Revelations is kind of like, I don't understand what they're trying to say. So I was thinking about doing another study on Revelations and trying to decipher using the Bible and using some of the stuff I know from different sources to understand what it says. Now, there are some out there who are like, it's the end times, we're in the end times, yada, yada, yada. And I'm like, I don't really... It's not that I don't think we're in the end times, but I don't think the end times are what we think they are. Sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I just needed something. My mouth has been dry and I've been craving peanut butter and chocolate. For instance, if you were to take the description from Revelations that describes in what John, or was it Paul? It was Paul. Paul was trying to describe a creature that had a tail like a scorpion and breathed fire. And I was looking at I was looking at that passage, and then I was looking at some of my notes and the some of the Edgar Cayce and Nostradamus notes. And there's two things I can think of that could depict such a creature. Would be something more like an Apache attack helicopter or some sort of modern day flying machine. And I was like, well, the tail of some helicopters, the way it's designed, could be the tail boom section of like the Apache helicopter. It's got the way it's hooked and whatnot. For somebody who, from, what was it I was reading? 95 AD, trying to describe a modern day war machine could look like some weird creature that was spawned from the bowels of Hades. That in fact, according to Revelations, at the end of Revelations, basically all that they knew back then, maybe even us nowadays, would be basically either removed, destroyed, remade. You have to, Revelations itself, to some people might seem like a lot of doom and gloom in the beginning. But when you think of the fact that it says that heaven and earth will be one, like merged together, a new heaven on earth, I don't know. There's not very many details of what will happen after the end times in anything I've ever studied between the Bible. It gives you not really a detailed version of what they say is going to happen. But then you've got like Edgar Cayce, Nostradamus. You've got various other people who had visions that depict, various disasters and whatnot, but never depict the end result. If you go by scientists, if you go by scientific information, our sun has entered what they call a dormant period, which means it's going to get colder here on the planet. There's not going to be as much UV radiation or heat or anything like that coming off the sun. And last time this happened, which was a couple thousand years ago, probably, I think, if my history is right, it happened back during the time of the Vikings, basically, when the Earth was basically colder by 40 degrees and had basically a mini ice age, is what they called it. And I'm all for winter. I love winter. I love the snow. Don't exactly like the extreme cold. I've been in one or two places that had extreme cold, and it was just like, this is even too cold for me. People who like wintry weather or colder weather will enjoy what could be happening. The idea of a mini ice age, though, is just kind of like one of those, does that mean I should move further south, closer to Texas, or maybe even further than that? I never lived in Mexico, never visited Mexico. I don't know what Mexico is like. Would I do something like that? No, not unless it was a necessity, like a day after tomorrow scenario. But scientists have warned. Oops, dropped my cap. Scientists have warned of such events, but scientists are also worried, even though they think it won't happen for another millennia or two, a couple more million years. The sun will go supernova and become a black hole. Will that happen in my lifetime? I don't think so. Are we destined for something like that? Don't know. See, the problem I'm having with science, and this is all forms of science that has to do with medical or predictions, or, they can only go by certain information, and most of the information is historical information. Yes, scientists have made great leaps and bounds in medicine and great leaps and bounds in technology and space exploration and things like that. But there is something that scientists can never explain away, can never fully explain or understand, and that is what I consider the supernatural aspect of life. And the supernatural aspect of life is everything from what God can do, what nature can do, what bits and pieces of biology that scientists do not understand can happen. Scientists don't fully understand our brains. They do believe, though, at one point in time that we use almost 50% of our brain capacity instead of the 3% we use nowadays. There are beliefs that the brain is not only a living computer that has information locked away inside our genes and our DNA that we can't access consciously. There are some scientists that believe that the brain, that at one point in time, because of our brain and its capacity, we had certain abilities such as telekinesis, telepathy, empathy, the various different sci-fi or science, or not sci-fi, supernatural abilities. We don't know. Scientists have not been able to fully explain why the average human being only uses a minor percentage when we've got such a large brain. It's one of those things that me and science do not get along with, because I believe, and not just because of the fact that I've had certain sensations or certain events occur in my lifetime, that I believe that our brain is capable of doing much more than we use it for. But the study of Revelations has been an issue with me, not only because of the fact that it makes me wonder what the future can be like, and it makes me wonder what I need to keep my eye out for in case of the various events that have been described in Revelations. And, well, I know a lot of you who have said things to me about my Bible studies and whatnot may or may not be interested in my take or my feelings towards Revelations. Sorry, my sinuses are really bad today, even though I just got done doing nose spray and all that fun stuff. I don't want to take an allergy pill because that will put me to sleep. But I'm trying to complete this list of verses that my cousin Michelle put down for memory verses, and we're a little halfway through. We've still got about 23 more verses to go through out of the 70 or so. I don't know what the full number is. 57 chapters. I want to continue with this list, but I also wanted to ask you, the viewers, especially those who are interested in the Bible context, if you, the viewers, wanted me to not only continue with that list, but to get into Revelations and try to, I don't know if I want to say break it down or just general discussions about Revelations. I'm more than willing to do that. In fact, I kind of look forward to doing something like that, because not only gives me a structured content for my videos, but it also, sometimes reading Revelations and looking at it, sometimes it puts my mind at ease, but other times it causes, well, I shouldn't say causes issues, but kind of gives me not really overwhelming feeling, but a a feeling of should I be worried about stuff that either has not happened or may be happening and I just don't realize it? Excuse me, folks. But it's also one of those, I don't know if I should say it's one of those things that gives me, like, not pleasure or joy or anything like that, but it gives me energy. It's something that I'm excited about, that I take passion, I'm passionate about. I don't know, all those things. But at the same time, it's like, I know a lot of people out there are done with the negative doom and gloom. The world's coming to an end, everything's coming to an end, whatever. People are done with that kind of stuff because of the way things have been lately. And I understand that. I mean, I'm done, like I said in an earlier video, I'm pretty much done with 2020 and all the events that have happened this year. Am I happy about some of the events? Yes. Am I mad about some of the events? Yes. Am I concerned that some of the events or some of the things that are happening now will carry over to 2021? Yeah, I'm worried about it. I know that unless God decides to make it so, I know the coronavirus is not just going to instantaneously go away and stop. That would be a God level event, not a human level event. And I know for the most part, as humans, we sometimes think that we are capable of stopping something that we want to stop. But no. We can stop our cars. We can stop living in shadow. There's a lot of things we can stop. But when it comes to something like a natural disaster, which coronavirus is a natural disaster, there's not much we can do to stop it. So it's one of those things where it's like, sorry. All I can say about 2021 is the outlook for what Biden wants to do looks good. He's already trying to, now that Trump is letting his people transition into Biden's people, we can only hope that his task force for dealing with the coronavirus does good, or his plans for making America better. At least in my mind, I think it would be better. I don't know. Every president can make promises and try to enact changes to make things better in their vision. I just hope that whatever happens is for the better. What the government does to make things better, all I can say is whatever plans that they have that sounds like it's going to make things better for everybody, I hope it happens. But as an individual person, I can only sit here and do the best that I can do for me, my house. But yeah, the future is not written. We can have 3 different aspects or visions of what the future is going to be like or could be like. And we won't know whose vision is going to be right and whose vision is going to be wrong until it happens. Same thing with the Bible, all right? The Bible, for the most part, up until Revelations, is written. It's in stone. As for Revelations and what Revelation says could happen, that's the word right there, could happen. The visions of Paul and Peter and the different letters and the different things they did to try to set the various churches on the path that they need to go into. When Revelations happens, we don't know. How Revelations happens, we don't know. What will happen during Revelations is up to us as individuals. We can go into a tizzy and make things worse, or we can hunker down and try to do our best to take care of ourselves and our neighbors. So, are we in the middle of the end times? Don't know. Are we at the beginning of the end times? Don't know. As for towards the end, I don't think so. And we're not towards the end yet, if we're in the middle of the end times. Famine, disease, war, death. If you look around and you think about Revelations, you could sit there and go, no, the only thing we haven't had yet, we haven't had full-on famine. We've had war. We've had death. We've had pestilence. I haven't seen famine yet. Yeah, there are some countries that are poor countries that are having issues with feeding themselves and feeding their kids and taking care of themselves food-wise. But an all-out worldwide epidemic of famine, I haven't seen yet. Now, coronavirus, because of the various conditions that keep people from doing their jobs, or keep people from working in the farms and the meat plants and the fisheries and places like that that are part of our food source. Yeah, there was various reports of various farms here in America that because they didn't have enough people working the farms due to the shutdowns and whatnot, which I don't see why farms shut down. Those are kind of a necessity. Had to basically let crops spoil and just plow them back into the ground for fertilizer. Could that be the beginning of famine? Possibly. Which basically means we are in the middle of Revelation. It's just, they didn't say how, the Bible doesn't say how quickly we're going to go from point 1 to point 2 to point 3 to point 4 to the end. It just tells you to look out for these different things and various signs of the various events. I could say, yeah, I've seen some of those signs. But just because I've seen them doesn't mean it's, it's what the Bible says. So I'm thinking of just redoing Revelations, redoing my studies into Revelations with fresh eyes, basically. Now, if I decide to do that, and the question is, do I vlog about it? Do I voice my opinion about it? I don't know. I kind of want to hear your opinion. But the other thing is, I'm at that stage, basically, where with all the events that happened just in 2020 alone, 2020, it makes me think. And it makes me, it's like, there's a lot of people out there who went, oh yeah, Saddam Hussein was a herald of the end times. And then there's other people who talk about, other various people who have not done as bad as Hussein did, but still has done things that make you question. I don't know who the herald of the Antichrist is, or the Antichrist himself. Don't know. Might not even be a man. Might even be a woman. Who knows? It's one of those things that we can sit here and speculate and guess and whatnot, but until the event happens, I don't think we're gonna know until it happens. But anyhow, yeah, I look forward to your comments. I'm not looking for thumbs up, thumbs down, whatever on this video. I'm just looking for your thoughts and your comments about doing Revelation. So, until next time, you guys have a good day. Bye.